Fuck, man. There we go. We good.
Hookah always is.
We good. Never mind.
I got the hookah. I got my liquor. I got some wine tonight. Some wine type of night.
Okay.
Brian
We
McKnight.
live. We
It's
live
all
or
the
what?
way ready. I
Are
don't
we
have
live?
any of that going. Yes, we are actually. We are live right now.
Okay, I don't see it. I don't see it on Instagram.
Oh, we're not live on Instagram right now. It's connecting. You gotta wait a second.
Oh.
Hey y'all, hey. We might be live on Facebook though. I actually don't really know. If we're actually live on Facebook, can somebody text my phone and tell me so? One of my family members or something? Because I don't actually know. Because I don't have the Facebook one up. What is this doing? Hold on.
See, we 4 minutes late. We missing out on people.
Ooh.
That'll be all right. It's Tuesday. Well, where is everybody really at on a Tuesday? Let's talk about it.
They waiting for us.
It's Taco Tuesday.
Well-
we compete. We competing against tacos right now. See, I might.
They
I might
eating
step out
tacos
for a
and waiting
taco.
for us.
They're eating tacos. Hold on.
Oh.
Well, they're gonna have to wait. I already said. We are streaming to Facebook and YouTube according to this. Insta, no, because Insta is the pain of my existence. Always, it's always stressing me out. Instagram need to get it together. Let's talk about that. Okay, let's try this again, because that's where our main audience comes from. Instagram. I love when you try something new and it doesn't go the way you're planning. You're just like, oh well, we'll figure it out. We're just gonna go with God, as my sister says. We were on vacation. We're talking about how much money we're spending. She was like, "We're just gonna go with God on it." So
There we go. That's a great attitude.
don't even look in your bank account until you get paid again or something.
That's a great attitude.
That's pretty much where we at with it.
Mm.
Let's see. How are you? Okay, what is it looking like on sending data. Okay, we got action. We got action.
We got action.
We got action. We got action. Yes. Okay. What do you see?
All right, we live, killers.
Yay.
All right.
Okay.
Y'all acting brand new, man.
I love it.
Bad me the hookah. Bad me the hookah. Yeah.
This is so lit. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I need to get
What
with
it
Jay.
do?
I need to get with Jay Swag over there, man. Jay Swag over here got everything popping, man. I'm waiting for a cigar. I'm waiting for.
Listen, man, we just trying to live a good life over here. We just trying to live a good life. That's all.
Last week you was clean, my dude, man. You was over there clean, man. I thought you was hosting the Grammys or something. I was like, yo.
One day, my brother. One day.
I was like, yo, my man.
So we up in here. We apologies to our listeners. We up in here a little late. We trying out something new this week.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I got the headphones on. We got the mic action going. You know, we done stepped up our technology game. So, you know, if there's any problems or any issues you see that's going on with our setup, you know, let us know. We're just trying to step up our game for y'all because we love the podcast. We love the tit-tat.
We do, and yeah, y'all gotta bear with me like one more moment, please and thank you. Because this is all very new to me. So it's like the only thing I'm not seeing is the chat.
I see it. I'm looking at the chat on the phone.
You're looking at the chat on the phone, but like, can you respond back to the chat? That's the only thing that right now I'm annoyed with, because I can't see the chat on the studio screen.
So, well, we're getting folks that say it sounds good.
It sounds good. That's good. All right. Yeah, it looks good. I'm looking at it from my cell phone. It looks really good.
Yeah, we just don't have anybody. We just don't see comments
Right.
the way we would see them on it. So you need to fix that later.
I need to fix it right now. You gonna entertain the people while I fix it real quick, or you gotta do it some other time?
I
or
sure
did you mean some other time?
So Jay, what was the occasion last week, man? What were you doing?
CIAA, baby.
What?
CIAA tournament. You know, we was in Baltimore live, coming. I was streaming live last week.
Wow.
And so, and I did my party Saturday.
So you do
It was a good look.
I knew something was up, man.
Yeah, but that was Thursday. My party was Saturday. So CIAA happens every year. It's in Baltimore. A lot of folks. This year, the attendance wasn't as great as I anticipated. But that's okay. But I'm always going to support my HBCUs. I'm always going to support the CIAA. It's important. Even though I went to a PWI, my family all went to HBCU.
Oh man.
Everybody but me. My sister went to North Carolina A&T. My brother went to UMES. My mother went to FAMU. My dad went to Norfolk State. So we all over with
what got you to pivot? What got you to pivot?
Well, I wanted to go to Norfolk State to play ball. My dad shut that down. He was no sir. And one of the reasons in the 90s it was very, very very violent in Norfolk, Virginia.
Yeah, that's right.
Norfolk, Virginia was no joke. Still kind of isn't. It's getting better. It's being gentrified like crazy, but back in the 90s, no joke.
Wow.
So Pops was like, nah, we got to head out to the burbs. We got to go somewhere else. So yeah. But I will always support my HBCU. I'll always support, us in that spirit because it's important. No matter what school you went to, you should always support your own.
Yeah, for sure.
And everything that we do. So when we support our own, the money flows back to these schools so they can stay open because, your kid may need a school to go to.
Yeah.
Who knows? You know what I mean? So, yeah, so I did a little gig. The party was dope. Carolyn was in the building.
That party was so fun. Oh my gosh. We had so much fun.
Did she get sloppy again though?
Oh, wow.
Nah, but she was lit though. She was chilling. She was lit though, but she ain't sloppy.
Did she bring the roller skates again though? I hate when she bring the roller skates, bro. Like, I'm like, did she really?
That's how y'all finna do me for real? That's crazy. No, but it was fun. And they had, one of the things I really loved about it was at some point there was like a how do you say it? Saxophonist?
Saxophone,
yeah, a live saxophonist playing with the DJ, but even like the trap stuff, which was really cool. It was really nice.
What?
And then one of the littest parts of the night was when they played Melodies from Heaven.
Oh,
Melodies.
Yeah.
Listen,
Melodies from Heaven.
Everybody
was singing at the top of their lungs of Melodies from Heaven. It was lit.
Yeah.
It was a really fun time. It really was. I enjoyed it. Yes, you guys. We're gonna start doing live events for Tit for Tat, and Jay's gonna be in charge of all of that. We're gonna put.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to come out there in July, so hopefully y'all do something in there around that time.
Yes, that would be a good time to plan for it.
Yeah, I haven't partied out there in a minute, man. I know it's turned up like immensely since I was there. When I was partying back in them days, man, it was always fighting. There was cats getting carried off. It was crazy. It's not like that no more. I think people are classy in DC now, but.
I mean, sophisticated, classy.
Yeah, it was a fight all the time. Like I remember going to Fifth Column, Love, Live. I mean, when they changed it to Dream or whatever. Yeah, it's like back in the 90s and probably.
Well, it was Dream and then Love.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was Mark and Taz and them, right? So, but yeah, man, I was like always. There was always a little angst to go to clubs out there because there was always somebody, especially Georgetown, Adams Morgan. Oof.
Really?
Shout out to my
we used to call it Adams Morgue back when I was in high school.
Wow.
Cats was getting stretched out. You would always see someone get stretched out in Adams Morgan.
Yeah,
that's not good. That's not the reputation it had when I moved here.
Yeah, this is
Oh no, it changed. It switched. Now Eddie U Street is the new Adams Morgan.
Wow, that's what I'm talking about. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't really go out like that, so anymore. Don't be rolling your eyes. I don't. Anyway,
so what are your spots? What are your spots over there? Like when I get out there, I'll definitely want to check some spots y'all be going to.
Well, we'll let you know. We gotta get into
Yeah,
the show.
sure,
Though.
sure.
It's 8:13.
We do. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, we're a little bit late. Okay, are we ready? Okay,
Yes.
sorry. Well, officially, welcome to the Tip Tap Podcast. I'm Carolyn, your host.
I'm Jay Moore, and I'm the tip for tat, and she's the tit and the tip for tat, and we are here to bless you because you know what we do. We always bring the spice, but we always keep it nice.
Yes.
We are here with some new equipment.
Right. We're testing out some new equipment, so bear with us. And we also have special guest Eddie in the building from Atlanta. Thank you for being with us tonight.
ATL in the building.
ATL in the house. So, topic for this evening. There's been a lot of buzz around the Love is Blind season 6, in particular, AD being left at the altar. So we've kind of talked about. I've talked about this week with both of you separately. Just want to try to get into all the different things, but just looking at how dating is. I mean, I get it; it's a reality show, but let's just start with the fact that people are so wanting to find someone, you know, and that they're not having success on like just out in the real world. They're not having success. I can see that. Whoever typed that. Someone said, "Can anyone see this?" Yes, we can see. That was you. Oh, yeah, we can see it. But being in the space where the dating pool, the dating situation is just a little blah right now. So much so that people are willing to try their luck on Love is Blind, which the concept in itself sounds a little bit, it's stretching my thought process to think that in, 10 days or 15 days that you can go in and you can make a connection to that level with someone that would ultimately end up in saying I do or not in their case at the altar. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's very interesting that we've gotten to the point where shows are monetizing love, right? Or the journey of love. I think it's tough. It's already tough as it is, right? But now you're putting it in on TV, and the worst part about it is that if somebody gets rejected, it's happening in front of the world. I don't understand how people sign up for this. It's like folks are a glutton for punishment.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's how desperate people are to, have an opportunity to find that one. And they're like willing to try, anything. And I'm not speaking badly on the show because I do think it's possible. And we see that there's been successful couples that come from the show experiment. So
what's the percentage though? What's the percentage on that? Because I had to ask that. Is it 50%, 33%? Because from what I understand, it's not a high percentage of people who walk out of it.
No, I don't think there's a high percentage of people, but we know that it can work. It has happened. There are couples who have gotten married on the show and remain married after several years. So I don't think it's a very high percentage.
Yeah, I saw the first season, which was many years ago, and it was I remember it was kind of crazy because people like got a chance to date people they would have never dated. And I think that's mainly the concept and that you'll always hear that running theme, even though I've seen this season. So I've only seen 2 seasons. So I saw this season and then I saw the very, very first season. And the very first season, there was a real successful couple that ended up having a baby and married and everything. It was a white dude and a beautiful black girl. And they both kept laughing at the fact that they would have never, ever, ever met each other if it wasn't for the show. Because he was someone that was kind of a square, if you will, but a very dependable, cool looking dude and cool. And she was someone someone real cool. And I think she had been through her last. So everybody has the same story for the same reason they get on that show is like they tried everything else and nothing worked. But I also think it's the spectacle of the show that gets everybody hyped and knowing that they're going to be on TV. They can get clicks, they can get some kind of buzz on their own. But really, I think for the females that I see, it's really the fact that they just tried everything and they're just trying to find some real ones. Because the prerequisite of the show is you need to have your shit together. So it's not like regular people. I mean, you can't just be some rando up in there and trying to be on the show,
Yeah, but
When you say
go ahead.
have your shit together, what do you mean by
So
that?
there's three different areas of criteria. First, of course, the popular one is where you see them talking in pods to each other. So then you meet a person, you meet a bunch of people. It's like almost like speed dating through the pods, where you talk through someone through a wall, and that goes on for I think like a couple. I don't know how long it goes for. I don't want to lie,
10
but
days, I believe.
it goes on for a while, but it's really intense. Like you see people bringing. If you look closely, you'll see people with notebooks and they're writing down questions and they're writing down answers and they're kind of filtering who they like, who they don't like, and it's kind of a real intense process, interviewing, if you will. And then after that, there's a moment where you kind of propose to someone if you connect with them on a high level, and then after that, y'all go on a honeymoon for like I think a long weekend, and then after that, y'all live together at one of y'all's house. So you can't be like it ain't that I'm not joning, but you can't be living at your mama being on this show. You feel me? Because you're gonna have to live at Jay's house after y'all like after the honeymoon, and then from there it gets really intense because then you meet her family, she meets your family, and then y'all courting for a while, and it gets really real. Y'all living together, y'all trying to manage and juggle life as if you were, I mean, really married, and then y'all have I think 2 weeks to actually get married. So that's the real intense part, and that's the part where you kind of figure out if you're gonna be with this person at the altar or not. So it's a great deal.
Him y'all said you have to pass a psychological eval
Yeah,
too
that's
to
what I'm
be
saying.
on
There's
there.
a lot of work you gotta be. You can't just be like, yeah, I'll be on the show. Like you're supposed to have stuff together when you get on that show.
I mean, I think
Okay.
people might have stuff together on paper, but what I'm seeing when I've watched episodes of the show is like from an emotional standpoint, like I don't think that a lot of people that go on there are ready to be in a relationship. I think that the ideal of love, yeah, that's an easy sell for mostly everybody, but at the end of the day, you have to be in a certain mindset to receive it. And I think that a lot of people are coming on that show but they're not emotionally ready. Like for example, even just watching this show this season, a lot of the men showed such emotional immaturity on the show. Women too, but obviously from my perspective, I'm looking at like how the men are moving mostly. And it's like how are you going to be on the show? Like one guy had a girlfriend at home, came on the show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that is going to be coming out.
Wait a minute, you do a psychological eval, but they don't do a background check to see if you're already in a relationship?
I don't know.
So
How would they
apparently not.
actually
Yeah.
do that?
To Carolyn's point, there was a dude with a whole baby. They found out he had a baby. That the dude Jeremy, he had a baby,
Yeah.
and they didn't even
See,
know. And then
that's
there's
the
a
part.
part
See,
where when I looked at it after they announced that he had a baby, I went back to see like. Then there was a moment where after the honeymoon and all that stuff, they move into his house. Come to find out, he had gotten an Airbnb. It wasn't even his house.
What?
Like he faked everyone out, and
I'm sorry.
it was a moment where
Your background, then the background check is some bullshit.
yeah. So sometimes
thorough.
cats up in there with
The background check is some
yeah.
bullshit.
So you're gonna have a couple people slide through the cracks, and he was one of them. He was able to hide a baby, to your point, a relationship, and even not even have a real like place with like on his own.
Or I don't mean to cut you off. This is something where this is the part I don't like. It's no way possible that you do a psychological eval, you do all these things, but you miss obvious stuff, which means they want the drama,
Oh yeah.
right? So we won't say he has a baby at home. We'll let that come out on the show. We won't say that the crib that he told us is his is an Airbnb. We'll let that come out on the show, right? It takes away the authenticity of the show.
That makes sense.
And that's my problem, right? Love is blind. If you're actually trying to bring people together, then let's really do that. Don't set people up to fail. Don't embarrass people.
Yeah,
on
but
TV.
to be fair, man, people gonna be people, man. I mean, I know people that
Right,
I've never understood how someone could crash a wedding or crash a funeral. I've always felt like, yo, you didn't even know Jay. Like,
right, but that's real life. This ain't. You're scripting this. If you're doing all this stuff to evaluate the candidates that come on your show, but yet big stuff like that slips by, then that's bullshit. This is really about ratings.
Yeah, definitely. It's always going to be about ratings, but I think they did try to do something honest. You know, like if you watched the first season, I remember thinking, "Oh, okay, this looks like it." You know, because it's kind of like I call it the dating show, like the voiced version of the dating show. You know, where you kind of are not looking at a singer.
Okay.
You know what I mean, so to speak. You know, and
Mhm.
you do find some, like, you know, they did show the people. There was some couples that actually had a kid, like, together, and they live together and they happy. Like they do these reunion shows like after the fact, and they ask you like how long, you know. And this sometimes is the 2 years afterwards, and by this time you have like a whole life together. So it does work for some people, but you know, I don't know the numbers, the percentages, but I think right now with love in this era, man, and it's funny, man. Well, not funny, really. I feel like love is going to be like something in the Smithsonian you can see at the Constitution Avenue, where it's like, oh, this used to be real, you know?
Again, something that can be sold, right? We can sell it.
Yeah,
Maybe marriage
right.
might be that at some
Yeah.
point, unfortunately. Well, let me
Yeah.
ask you guys this.
Hear me out.
Oh, go ahead.
Now, I'm just gonna say a comment. I think the psych evals to make sure you're not a rapist or a killer, not to see if you have kids or a liar. My point is that if you're willing to do a psychological eval, then you should at least do a baseline background check, right? If it's so important to find out if they're not a killer rapist, how about to find out if they're a liar too?
Yeah, but that's hard. That's hard to. I don't know how people can get that, man.
You can. If I give you an address and you look it up and it's an Airbnb, you're a liar.
Yeah. You can. I mean, but you know, some people slide, and maybe to your point, maybe it is for the drama, you know.
It's definitely for the drama.
But there are some people that really prosper, you know, from this show, you know, like real people. But you know, it's at the end of the day, I just take it with a grain of salt. But then you have to use your own discernment watching the show if you know who's real and who's not, you know. Because I mean, I can tell bad acting. I think, you know, we watched enough movies and shows.
Are they supposed to be actors?
No, my point is like
acting?
some of the reactions you'll see from people getting devastated about something, it feels real. Like I'm like, yo, there's no way this is acting.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, definitely.
Because I've never seen this person in a movie or show before, and I'm like, they are putting it on like Meryl Streep. I'm like, whoa.
and that's the messed up part. It's real people with real feelings.
Yeah.
So that's what. So you're really you playing.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, you playing. Right, like you don't know this person has a whole baby at home, but you gonna put them on TV. Love is Blind, and then it blows up in somebody's face. And all these sensitive people.
Well, that
somebody run home and kill
that
themselves.
dude. I don't know if you know the backstory about that dude, Jeremy. He ended up finding. So he, you know, like I mentioned earlier.
The dude that everybody's been talking about. That's the name. The Bill Bellamy.
No, the dude with the baby. The dude with the baby ended up cheating on his wife, technical wife, with a girl that he actually liked from the pods. So, you know, you're rotating a bunch of girls that you like. You're going on like 15 dates. So apparently he kind of like one of the girls like did a sneaky link on Instagram and told him like, yo, if it don't work out with old girl, let me know because I'm with it, essentially. And it got around to everybody that was like on the show, like all the other people that became friends with her, like, yo, because she was a sore loser. She ended up kind of getting, you know, kicked to the curb over another girl. But then people have, you know, reservations, buyer's remorse, if you will. And he kept in touch. And that's what got him like kicked off the show, is because he ended up hollering back at a girl that he like regretted that he canceled, if you will. And then later the baby came out on the tabloids that he had a baby. And that really didn't ruin anything in terms of the show. But to your point, it ruined his credibility because it's like, oh, bro, he wasn't even on there focused. You know what I mean?
Okay,
What's your question?
Yeah, I know, because I've been trying to ask my question for like 10 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you guys are fine. But I want to really start with the foundation. Okay, Love is Blind, because we talk about this on the show all the time, how you guys always say that men are so visual. So is the concept in and of itself something that's not really realistic because of the visual nature of men?
So I'm going to say something real unpopular, and it's not going to be fair at all. So I seen Shorty, right? I looked at her and I saw him, right? She's cutie. She's a cutie. You know what I mean? Like, you know, cute body, this and the third. If I had her, so obviously I live in DC. You know, I throw a rock outside, I hit 10 bad chicks. That's just what it is, right? So what I'm used to, let's just say she lived in DC. I'm not saying she's not a bad chick. She's dope. But here, she's a mean 6. She's a dope 7, right? Like, here in DC,
her body alone got her an 8.
No, like
body alone got her body is like
what I'm telling you, what I see, living here and being around and knowing, she a mean solid. She's a solid 6.5, 7 with when she's done up compared to what I see every day. My point is in that spirit. Old boy looks like Bill Bellamy.
Whoa!
He does. No,
me and Wifey said the same thing.
He really does.
Wow!
Slim look like Bill Bellamy, attractive dude, right? He's an attractive guy, whatever. Bill Bellamy. It's feasible for him to be like, I done pulled better chicks. I don't know if I want to settle and marry her.
Well,
just off the looks alone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not. It's unpopular, but it's not far-fetched at all.
But here's what I noticed from the show. First of all, he was extremely insecure. She was always having to affirm him. If you watch the show, I pay attention and stuff like that now because we talk about these kind of things all the time. He was a man that needed reassurance and affirmations, and he liked that about her because she gave that. And he at times communicated like his struggles about commitment and being afraid. But one thing that I noticed, especially when they were in the pods, when another man was showing her a lot of attention, and because he was kind of like he had made some comment to her about like, are we going to talk about the physical in true nature? And you can tell he's a guy that's like, physical is important and like really important. Like that's probably his most important thing. That's what he seemed like to me. That's just my opinion, but that's what it seemed like to me. But the minute so he was kind of moving shaky with that. But the minute he found out that the other dude was like really into her and she was kind of feeling him a bit, then his ego came into play. He even said that. Like if you watch this show, he was like really in his feelings about that. And because of that, then he wanted to run back and go be like, oh, I'm back on her train. And that is a problem that I have with men because I've seen that a lot, not just in my own dealings with men, but just in other situations with friends and whatnot. It's like you turn it into a competition. Like this is love. I believe that she was in it for the right thing, but it wasn't about him and her. He made it about a competition with the other guy. And so the minute he felt
that's what guys do.
But he was wrong for that, in my opinion. The minute he felt threatened,
he's wrong for that because I'm not gonna let you beat me out over a woman that was checking for me first, and it got nothing to do with you. But if you was checking for me first, I'm not gonna let this next brother beat me out, especially on TV.
But if you don't really want her, then would it even matter? That's the
that ain't got nothing to do with it. That ain't got nothing to do with anything. You're right. It is ego,
and that's wrong.
That is the competitive nature of men. No, it's not wrong. You can't take away something that's a natural instinct for men. Men are naturally competitive. We were groomed to be competitive since we were babies.
You can be competitive, but when your competitive nature negatively impacts someone else, that's wrong.
How did it negatively impact her?
Because he was yo-yoing her. He really didn't want her, but then he didn't know for sure what he wanted. But the minute somebody else was showing her attention, then he wanted to come all back in the picture. And men do that a lot. It's like I don't really want you like that, but like I'm not okay with someone else having you, and that is wrong because now you didn't make it about how you really felt and what y'all situation was. You made it about, oh no. Because he even said that he felt like the guy was beneath him in all areas, didn't he? He was like, he's not even, on my level. And now you sitting over here boo-hooing on TV crying.
And he was a white dude. He was a white dude. That really hurt.
That too, I'm sure that was the issue as well. I don't know if he said that, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he brought that up. He's like, trust me, AD, trust me. He's not even like on my level, not even on my level. Like, and it was funny, man, because I felt the same way. Like it was ego. And I'm all about ego. I know, men, that's our motivation, but not at the expense of someone's heart, man.
Right.
Like, that's crazy.
And that's where the maturity comes in, and where I feel like men don't protect women because you let your ego get in the way. And now, instead of doing the right thing, which was to, if he wasn't feeling her, to let her go ahead and explore that situation with the other guy, instead of running in acting like, oh, I got you, it's me and you. And then it wasn't really, he really didn't have her like that, because he ends up leaving her at the altar when he could have communicated to her that he wasn't ready, or whatever the case may be, prior to that moment. Like, that was a real moment. People really, flew in town and came and all of these things, anticipating seeing a wedding, and then a wedding didn't happen. And I think a lot of the reason why people are in an uproar about the situation is because he had an opportunity to let her know that prior to that moment, and he waited and to that moment.
So, and Eddie, I understand you have a great outlook on this whole thing, and I want to hear it. But here's my thing, right? I'm just going to throw this out there. This is TV. The drama is real. Drama causes ratings, brings ratings, which in turn brings advertising, which in turn brings money, right? To a certain extent, a lot of stuff that comes on TV, I pass with a grain of salt. The sad part about it is that a lot of times it's exploitative. Ooh, that's a hard word to say. I got a lie to say that. But you're exploiting people. You're exploiting real feelings. And I don't think it is, I don't know how much over a period of time this thing is taped, right? But again, you're condensing something as important as marriage into a calendar and putting events in place to try to get two people to marry each other. Not just like each other, date each other, be boyfriend and girlfriend, but marry each other. That is a recipe for disaster off the break.
Why?
Like, I don't care how desperate I am to get married. I'm not going on a show where it's almost manufactured for you. Because if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it.
What part is most unrealistic for you? The part about going on there and like linking up with someone, not seeing what they look like physically, or the fact that
off the break, let's start there.
Okay.
Let's start with the fact that any love story that you ever heard in real life started off how?
Attraction, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like how do people describe it? When I first saw her.
And there was a couple like that too.
When I first saw her, that is the opposite of Love is Blind. Like, you're going the opposite direction of how this whole thing starts. Right? Like, I saw him walking in the rain. My bad, went off of it. But I saw her.
Trying to get a nut.
I saw her walking down the street. Anybody I've ever been in love with, I remember the day that I met them. Visually, I remember the day that I met them. I remember that. There was nothing blind about that moment. So off the break, the concept itself is almost like a lie to me. Let's take it to another step. There's attraction, right? Physical, mental, all that. Attraction is hard to do, which is why I don't really believe in the whole dating apps. Attraction is hard to process through technology medium, right? We're humans. Our energy is real. Like, we feel energy from each other when we're in contact with each other. Why do you think people went crazy during COVID? Literally, damn near went crazy. The ACLU sidebar, the ACLU deemed isolation in jails as cruel and unusual punishment, right? Because the human is built to have interaction. So just off that alone, my interaction with you, that energy I feel, is another layer onto why I'm attracted to you. You've taken that out there.
Not necessarily. I have to disagree with you there, because you're still in the pods. They're doing things together. They just can't see each other. They painted together. They played games together. Like they, they were talking, interacting. They just weren't seeing each other.
If you're separate and I can't see you, how is that energy transferred? What am I transferring energy to?
I mean, I do think you can build connection in that situation. I do believe that that's possible because I think
you can build a spiritual or mental connection. I think the physical connection you're still missing, which is still an intricate part of this whole equation.
And they get an opportunity,
right? Especially
they do get an opportunity to build that though once they've made what they feel is a legitimate connection with someone, and they choose to get engaged, and so then they have the opportunity to get that physical interaction and the reveal of what they look like and whatnot. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
And there's you're good, because there's a comment. To be fair, that is a part of the experiment though, to see if you can connect with and have chemistry with someone before knowing what they look like. The key word in that comment is experiment.
So
we're experimenting.
So something. I will say that to your point, Jay, there is a part so after y'all get married, technically on TV, y'all go to a honeymoon, and in the honeymoon they even kind of ask questions like, "Yo, did y'all have sex?" And then for me, to your point, Jay, because I'm a man, that's my indicator to know like if people really connecting. Because there was a couple, I don't know if you saw the show like that. There was a couple, dude with the braids, and he ended up being with the white girl. You could tell, I knew right off the rip. Matter of fact, when he first saw her, to your point, Jay, I knew right away he didn't find her attractive, and I knew she didn't find him attractive. And I kind of saw like,
what makes you say that?
Because she stared at the ring more than him. So I don't know if you know that. I don't know if you saw this, Jay, but there's a moment where they kind of walk through the long hallway and they finally see each other after the doors prop open. And usually you run to each other, you hug each other, but when the girl saw the black dude, you could see like she was being nice. She like didn't really know how to hug him. He hugged her, but then she was staring at her ring because of he proposed to her, and she was more. I remember me and wifey were both like, yeah, she ain't feeling that dude, and he wasn't really feeling her. Then there was a real moment during the honeymoon where AD talks to the dude because he's concerned about raising kids with her. Like that's a huge concern for him. But then, to your point, Jay, they ended up ending it. Like it was honest. They were like, I'm not feeling you. You're not feeling me. Y'all not. They knew they weren't attracted because they didn't even have sex on the honeymoon. Because that's the thing, man. Like you get a chance to like have the physical connection to see if y'all really what it was, and then from there you decide, all right, well, nah, I'm good with this. But oh boy, his name is Clay. The dude Clay. He was smashing all hot like honeymoon. Like there was a moment where he was talking how good the sex was, and she was even saying like, we have sexual connection, like and you could tell they were just going off on the honeymoon. So to me, it was like he led her on in a way that I felt for AD. I was like, damn, bro, like you could have just said like it wasn't gonna work out if that was the case with the connection and the physical stuff, but he kept it going. Like
because he wanted to hit that. Let's be real. Like let's keep it 100%. Let's be funky with it.
And then you let her meet.
But that don't mean just because he wanted to smash her, don't mean just because he wanted to smash her.
But then peep this, Jay. So then after that part, after the honeymoon, you go home, and then she lives with him at his house, bro. And it's like you get to do real life. Like now, not only are you paying house, but you're paying mortgage now. Y'all like have a house and y'all have living with each other and everything, eating eggs and all that. And then meeting each other's families and even like kind of, fraternizing with each other's family, letting see what, he met his mom and the sister and vice versa. And by this time it's like, bro, because some of the couples by that time were like, like they get the wink from their mom or sister and they'd be like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. But my man kept it going. That's the thing, bro. Like kept it going. Like he has all these times to say, yo, this ain't working out. I'm not feeling this. I'm irresponsible. He could that whole speech about being irresponsible. He had all those times to say that throughout all the different sessions of the show. And that's why I feel you with the whole, with everything you're saying, man, but he had so many outs, bro. So many.
So why do you guys think from a man's perspective, what would make a man do that? Like what would make a man carry on, behave in a manner that sends mixed signals? Because sometimes they're acting as though they're into this relationship or into the woman, and then other times they're not. So we see this kind of like inconsistency happening, which with him and her, it was happening. And we'll get to her ignoring that in just a minute, but because she has to take some responsibility for that. But will it make a man do all of that? And then when you're back against the wall, now you're forced to make a decision. Now you're going to go with the safe decision for yourself.
In my opinion, based off the show, just basing it off the show, I did believe him, man. I did believe him. They always say someone tells you who they are, believe them. And he was very clear from jump. Like, he was insecure about his father's, history. He kept bringing it up even from the pods, he brought it up. That was why he was so obsessed with how she looked, because he felt like in his mind, if you don't look as good as you're supposed to look, then I will cheat on you. He even said it at one point. Like, I'm just my history, my dad. And it kind of enlightened something to me because it reminded me of Tiger Woods. And if you remember when Tiger Woods got himself caught up with all that, when he cheated on his wife, and it came out later that he was running missions with his father back when he was a kid. Like, he was literally if you remember this, his father was taking him on missions. And I can think now that I'm a father with kids, I don't know how crazy that would be for my sons to know that I'm like, yo, keep a secret. We're just going here, but I'm cheating on your mom. And then going home and having to be complicit and not wanting to tell your mom that what dad really was doing. And to hold that for all that time, it kind of made me really look at Tiger Woods in a different way. Because I remember at the time, I was in my mind like, bruh, come on, man, you knew better, But the truth is, there's something to that, man. And then it kind of made me realize like how we grew up in the sense of, because Tiger Woods and we all kind of grew up in the same era where, a lot of masculine movements was predicated on how many women you was smashing, like if me, Jay, you remember this, when we went to the clubs back when we was in college or high school and you got like 4 numbers and we was at Slice talking about, yo, did you really book that girl with the braids? And we was dapping you up like, yo, Jay, you the man. And then next week, what you gonna report back? Oh, how good it was. And then we looking at you like, bruh, you the Jay. And then we come up with a crazy name like Jay Draws, because you just getting them draws all the time, right? I made that up. But my point is, that's like crazy how toxic that is. That you going around having to prove that you a man because you like playing with all these girls. And the point is that as when you see Unc and your dad do that in front of you with your mom as a casualty, that has to mess with you when you get grown. So I bring that all back to say that I do believe Clay, when he got to that altar, he probably really, really wanted to marry her, but he couldn't trust himself because he felt maybe felt like he would take on the sins of the father, man, because he was scared of that. And y'all both athletes. When you live in the fear, bro, you're gonna miss that shot because you're afraid to take it. Of course you're gonna miss it because you're afraid to take it.
And it goes back to what I said at the beginning. He's probably had better as far as looks.
But why would he be on the show though? I'm playing like to his truth.
Because love is blind.
I know that it's
love is blind. You don't know who you hooking up with when you go on that show.
But he knew after the fact, though. He could have said, like, after smashing, after the honeymoon, he could have said, I've had better.
But how do you say it?
Why not?
Let's keep it a buck.
So the same way he said it at the altar. Yo, bro,
right. Because don't use that. Because I think a lot of men use that as an excuse. Like, I didn't want to hurt you, whatever. They're like, that's bullshit.
That's not an excuse. That's a real thing.
I mean,
and it got to the point where he was probably sitting at the altar like, it's either now or never, because this is about to be the real thing. I gotta say something. I gotta really live up to how I feel, or it's over. Like, it's now or never. Now, I don't condone it. Yeah, he could have said something earlier, but at the same time, like, you don't know what's going through a person's mind when they're backed up against a wall. Like, you on this show, you done found out what Shorty look like. You know you done had better. Do you say that out loud? Do you bail out? Do you say, like, that's not an appropriate thing to say? And you're on TV. It's not even appropriate sometimes to say in private. Like, yeah, Shorty, I done had better. Step off.
But he could have said that at the honeymoon. He could have said that when they were living together. He had a lot of outs, bro. Why get dressed up? Why get your mama out?
What I'm saying is that you never know what somebody feels when they're cornered up against the wall, and they don't know how. It's easy for us to say that because we're not in that position, right? We're not in a position where we're on TV. We're on the show that we're supposed to end up getting married. We're supposed to. Now, I'm not sticking up. I'm not making excuses for the guy. What I am saying, though, is that who knows what's going through his mind in this position where he is backed up against the wall and he's about to do something that he's kind of forced to do because he's on the show.
So what I heard from all of that was men want to pick and choose when they're going to put their big boy pants on. I don't think that.
Oh, you mean like women do too? Oh, the same thing.
Well, right now we're focusing on Clay. So like at the end of the day, like Eddie said, he had multiple opportunities. You cannot flip sides. Like this is a real thing. Like, and let's just get on the fact that, okay, so he wants to be acknowledged as this guy, this player. Like he, in his head, with his ego, he thinks he is the man, right? And anytime that's threatened, then his insecurities come out and he seeks that affirmation from her. So she's always there giving him what he needs when he needs it. But when it's time for him to have her back, he doesn't. And he told her multiple times that he had her back. And that's the thing that I get, like going back to like men wanting to be looked upon as these big, these big boss, these leaders or whatever, but you're not protecting or providing the two things y'all always say y'all supposed to do. He didn't protect her emotionally. He didn't provide a safe space for her to be herself without the consequences of now she's being vulnerable. And he, at the end of the day, when push comes to shove and his back is against the wall, as you said, he basically ran with his bitch ass. I'm so sorry, Mom, if you're watching the show, but that's how I feel about it. Because like, you can't be the man, but then when it's something's hard or challenging, then you weak. And that's exactly what happens. And it happens a lot of times in relationships. And I think that that's something that we need to really be discussing more. Like, how is that? Like, because as a man, how can you straddle that fence of, I'm in charge 1 minute, I'm the leader, I'm the boss, and then in the next minute, I am so weak and scared that I am going to basically desert this woman who's shown me nothing but love and support the whole time. No one has anything to say.
I mean, like I said, I'm not saying that the man is. I'm not making excuses for his behavior. I'm not. He had plenty of chances to come clean. I get it. I'm not going to sit up again, but it's not like this was done in private. This is on TV. Who knows what he's thinking? And again, we're on TV. This could all been just for some ratings. Then they had told him, don't say nothing yet. Who's to say he didn't want to tell her off the break?
Other couples on the show made that decision before getting to the wedding and getting.
But that doesn't mean the ratings were the same with this couple. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot more to this because it's on TV. I can't give it the real fair shape that we all would like to because it is on TV. Because it is about ratings.
There's one thing that's kind of personal, man. I really didn't want to bring it up, man, but I know y'all have a lot to say about it. And I don't know if it's just as of lately, but I've had like a lot of sisters, man, a lot of friends, even some family members that have like, ended up marrying outside their race. And when I came up to them, I was like, oh, damn, like Carolyn, really? You moving there? That's cool. I mean, someone that I always knew all my life that just stick with their own. They ended up saying the same identical thing, that they find that our men, black men, brown men, are emotionally immature, that we can't decide. We love to ride the fence. Where they find that white boys are just more intentional. And to your point, man, it could just be it could just be spectacle. It could just be a show trying to get ratings. I'm with that, bro. I've been around the block. I bees the block, right? But my point is, there's something that kind of hurt my heart a little bit with that, because to Carolyn's point, when they were in the pods, the white boy was intentional. He wanted AD. And then all of a sudden, other boy's ego kicked in, and because he was probably not going to really pursue her until he heard that this dude wanted her, the white boy. And then he got really egotistical and was playing one-on-one and trying to get him. But then now you got her, and then you do her like that, man. It just hurt my heart because it played into this narrative that I'm hearing on my end. I'm in Atlanta, that we just not emotionally immature enough to try to make it to the next level. We choke at the big game, is what they're saying about us.
Yeah, as a black woman, I'm
I
sorry.
don't think that's fair. I don't think
I don't
fair.
think it's, but
If
to
a
Clay's
black
point,
man if a black man was to switch speed and say out loud, "Oh, you know, I'm dating blase blah because the black women are blase blah," fill in the blank, man, you get crucified.
yeah, but then what makes it look bad on us is that when we date outside of race, we all of a sudden know how to behave. All of a sudden, it's like,
No, we don't.
A lot of people I know, man. It's like, bruh, they were playing with certain girls for like all these years. They meet this white girl, and all of a sudden they marry her like within a year, and it's like, damn,
They still act the same. The person may put up with it. Go ahead, Kel.
No, I was just going to say, I definitely, and this is not going to be popular, but this is how I feel. Like, I definitely think that we need to focus a little bit more on this dynamic of the black woman not feeling supported by the black man. Like, where are our black men? And I'm not coming at y'all because you guys are great. Obviously, I love y'all both to death. But at the same time, as a whole, and we talk about this, you guys have female friends. You have sisters, you have women, black women in your lives, brown women in your lives. And you know, like, and I'm not saying that I am feeling like, okay, I'm going to go be outside my race with someone. But at the same time, I can really connect to AD from my personal experience of feeling like she did everything she could to show that she was rocking with him no matter what. She knew that he had some insecurities. She called him on his stuff, you know, she let him know, like, for example, when he was trying to figure out what she looked like, she said, no, I'm not telling you that defeats the purpose of why we're here. I'm not doing it. And she put her foot down on that. So I think the way she moved with him was as best as she possibly could have. And at the end of the day, he didn't protect her emotionally because he embarrassed her. I mean, she's devastated. I cannot imagine being in that situation. And, you know, he didn't really make her feel secure leading up to that point because he was so back and forth, which is obviously going to, if you're being insecure about how you feel, and not necessarily how he felt about her, but questioning himself, like Eddie said, because of his past, because of how he was raised and his relationship with his dad. And I want to dig into that in a minute. But like, if you're feeling that way and now someone's showing you despite that, like giving you that reassurance and giving you that reassurance, and then you're not doing the same back. It's just, to me, it was just incredibly selfish. It was like, I'm going to take from this situation as much as I can because she's making me feel good and validated, but I can't give that in return.
So he should settle?
Should he settle?
Yeah.
I don't think that he should. I don't think that it would be settling. I think that.
Why not?
Because she was being what he said he wanted. She was validating him. She was being supportive of his insecurities and his issues.
How do you know physically and how she looked is what he wanted?
If that was the case, he should have made that clear from the moment he saw her.
Well, okay, so hold on. So here's my thing. All right. So is the issue the timing, or is the issue the fact that he didn't get with her in the first place?
I think he choked, man. I mean, I'll say this. For me, the one thing that I really connected to with that couple was that they both of them grew up with single moms. And there was a moment where the single moms met each other. And for me, it's like, I knew it was, I felt genuine connection with the single moms. Like the mom liked him and her mom liked, you know, her and everything. So it was like this moment where you felt like, wow. And then even the one mom kind of read him his rights. Like, you know, I don't need you playing with my daughter. Like, that's something like, you know, my wife's mom said to me, you know, and I felt connected. I was like, oh man, because he's a single mom too. Like he grew up, and when you meet somebody's family, bro, and you know kind of the whole time, like you want to be out. And let's play to your point, Jay. Maybe he wasn't attractive. Maybe the pussy wasn't all that. Excuse me. But like he could have by that time, bro. I would have asked for the check and been like, yeah, this ain't gonna work out, because it ain't worth breaking all these people's hearts, bro. Ain't
I
nothing in
get
the
it.
world worth all that, man. Like he could have just been. He could have just pulled it to the side. Like there were other couples that did that. Literally before they got married, they had like a little date, and they said, you know what, Carolyn, that little situation we had back at the house. Nah, I'm not with that. I'm not gonna marry you.
So
And that's more mature, you know.
Would we rather have him go through with it and not really want to be with her, or do it the way he did, and at least they saved themselves from a lifetime of hurt and pain?
I would have liked him to just end it when he felt right away. I don't know how you don't feel that at the altar versus not like a week of, man.
But there's no book or any right time to break something off. We all say that. We all say that. Well, he should have broken off at this time.
I mean, at an altar,
that's terrible. There are people who break up with people on Valentine's Day. There are people who break up with people on their birthday.
Only like, come on, man. I never wore a tuxedo on Valentine's Day.
But hold on. What I'm talking about is timing, right? There's never a good time to break with anybody. Right?
Yeah, there is all the time. Not before you get to the altar, man.
Right.
So anytime other than at the altar.
Yeah, for sure. Not in front of my mama, not in front of your mama. No. Not doing that in front of your mama, man.
Yeah, you just don't take it that far. I don't understand.
But I think that here's what we're saying. We're saying that there are people out here who are so callous and mean that they purposely wait till we get to the altar to walk away. Because here's the thing. Here's what y'all don't really understand. I need y'all to understand this. She's not the only one that's embarrassed. Just because just because he did the breaking up, that doesn't mean that you were at the altar too. It takes two for everything. He broke up. The embarrassment lies on him also. He's not clean in this. He doesn't walk away unscathed. He doesn't walk away. Like, think about this. Who do you think is going to take him seriously for the rest of his life?
I don't think he was thinking about that, and I think any negative feelings he have is associated around guilt.
But that's my point. That's what I'm saying. Nobody is going to like. We keep saying like time. He did something. Maybe it wasn't the best time, but he did it because they were trying to save themselves. But at the same time, the person who's going to end up worse coming out of this is him, not her. She's going to get another man. She looks good. She looks good coming out of this. He's done.
Maybe.
Not a maybe. What woman in her right mind is going to put herself next to that guy?
Oh, come on, bro. You
stop.
In my experience, a lot of women will love to jump in and try to save this guy and heal this guy and relate to his trauma.
But they still will have his back in his head.
Back, bro. I don't care how strong she is.
She's going to come back.
That's humiliation on another level.
Bro.
She's going to come back because she's strong.
That ain't got nothing to do with this.
She don't need therapy. She don't need therapy on that.
And I'm not talking about her mental stuff. I'm talking about the fact that when she comes out of the hurt and pain, she's going to be able to get another mate.
I don't know.
He's not.
He will, bro. He'll be
He
fine.
won't, because what woman is going to trust him? You guys have sat up here and said that this guy did something so mean and callous and left somebody at the altar. You think there's going to be a woman out there who's not going to think about that? And this fool did it on TV?
Well, I think a lot of women.
This dude did it on TV.
I agree with you, but there are a lot of women out there that also think that maybe they could help him, and that's kind of woman's mindset. Oh, I know what's wrong with him.
Eddie, that's not what I'm saying.
My dad was the same way. My dad was the same way. I can connect with him.
Help him and marrying him are two different things.
But that's what women do. They heal, and then they love you. They fall in love with you, man. Come on, bro. You know this.
Nah,
the most wounded cat is the cat that's getting everybody.
Bro,
women feel like they can be there for him. Oh, what happened with that?
I agree with that. He will still get women.
All day, bro.
Because, like Eddie said,
I promise you, in this day and age, women don't even like guys who don't. You think women in this day and age, in this dating scene, is going to take this guy seriously?
Not one who's really on her. I mean, it's a certain levels. No, not a woman that's really on her stuff.
He's always going to get sex. I'm talking about somebody who's going to be like, I want to marry you. You're bugging. Ain't nobody gonna fool that dude at that level.
I mean, I guess I have mixed
right,
feelings about it, like because I do think that he's going to still have women, you know, and not just sex. There are probably women that are going to want to be with him because, like Eddie said, like women, we just have this complex where we see the potential in people, and then we want to move and make decisions based off of that, which is not good. And that brings me to a point that Lauren made is that he told her without telling her. He did sometimes tell her literally about his insecurities and his reservations, but he continued to deal with her. That's where I have a problem with men because y'all do that. But aside from that, he was telling her without telling her in a lot of his movements and things as well, but she ignored it.
Right.
So,
and she tried to sully him into, which is another thing. Like we keep painting her as she's innocent because from what I'm understanding hearing is that she kept ignoring it and keep trying to sell him on marrying her.
I don't think she was trying to sell him on marrying her, but I do think that she ignored some signs that were clear that he was insecure. Like, I don't even understand why she would want to continue the relationship in that regard because she knew that he was insecure. I believe she said that at times. So that's one thing. But again, I think it's the potential. Well, you know, if I love him and continue to show him support and affirm him, then, you know, maybe he won't be insecure and he can understand and see what this could be. And see, that's where she went wrong. Definitely, in my opinion, because she should have recognized on the multiple occasions where he was showing her that that's not where he was really ready for that. But she chose to ignore it. And so I think women have to take responsibility for that aspect too, at the end of the day. I mean, because the insecurities alone, like when I was watching it, the insecurities alone made me cringe. But like, then again, also I've learned a lot now. I'm a lot wiser. So I think I can identify and see things a little bit better. She's still young. So maybe that's some of it as well. And then also I think some women do have such a desire to have someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
we all do though. We all do. It ain't just women, it's men too. We all do.
Okay, well, but I think everyone may have a desire to have someone, but not everyone's going to be willing to go to such extremes or try to, you know, be down for someone or love someone through whatever it is that their hang up is. Because no one wants to like feel like they have to convince you to be with them or sell themselves. I think she said that at one point. I'm not going to sell myself to you.
But the whole show is based on that premise. You have to. You are, first of all, we need to stop acting like that's not what you're doing when you meet anybody. You're selling yourself directly or indirectly. The man is selling himself to the woman to say, am I worthy of you? I am worthy of you, and vice versa. You are selling yourself. Everybody gets sold. Everybody's being sold. I'm not saying it has anything to do with money, but you are selling who you are to another person to say, yes, love me. I am worthy of that, and vice versa. In that sell, right? I'm not saying you have to settle, but you are selling yourself, right? You're always selling yourself. And even when you get into a relationship, you're selling that person on why they should stay. And vice versa.
I don't know if I agree with that.
You're always selling yourself. You're always, man, listen, we talked about one of the things in Love Jones, right? You talk about romance, right? And how people exhaust the possibilities. What does that really mean when we exhaust the possibilities? We forget or stop coming up with ways to make our partner feel loved. That's selling something. You're selling that person on, hey, I still love you and feel that you are attractive. And this is how I'm showing you that. Do you feel me on that? And vice versa. You are always selling who you are and your love to the other person. We think of selling in this salesman type of thing because of the word. But if you think about the actual concept and what we're doing as humans, you're constantly selling love to one person and vice versa, so that I can at least say, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm glad I was here. At the end of the day, I'm glad I went through this day with you. And why? Because you sold me on that. You sold me on why I can't live without you. And that's what we do every day. That's what this is. You're always selling.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think some of the points that you made, I agree with, but I don't, the concept of selling yourself, I do think that, once you make a connection with someone and you start to have feelings for someone, then you are naturally reassuring them of how you feel.
No, you live in this fantasy world. That is not natural. That is a fantasy world. You have to keep telling people how you do. Just because you told me Monday that, oh, I love you, do you think I'm supposed to feel that way on Tuesday?
No, I might do something else to tell you that I love you on Tuesday. Naturally. You're naturally, not like, let me think of what I can do to let him know I love him. You're getting
caught up in the word. You're getting caught up in the word sell. You are, because whether it's whatever naturally means, you're doing something. You're actively showing me that you love me even on Tuesday and Wednesday. You're selling me on the fact that, yes, you do love me. Even though you said it Monday, you're showing me on Tuesday. You're selling me on the fact that your words are matching your actions.
But wouldn't that, if I say I love you, then wouldn't my actions naturally support that? If that's how I really feel, I would naturally do things that support the fact that I love you.
Okay, let me hit you with this one. I can tell you I love you and I cheat on you.
Yeah, I mean, you could.
Right.
And then I would completely question.
But I do love you, but I cheated on you.
But you telling me you love me and your actions supporting that you love me are two different things, because you can say anything. That's not what I said. You're talking about telling someone that you love them. And I am talking about naturally moving in a way that shows that you love someone, because that's how you actually and truly feel.
It's not natural. That's what I'm saying. Love is intentional. It's an action. This is not some magical potion where you wake up one day and because I love you, how I move is going to be based on that love. That's not how this thing works.
I don't agree with that.
That's just what it is. I intentionally show you that I love you every day by doing the right thing. I can love you, but in order for me to support that, I intentionally do things to make you feel loved. That is not natural.
So
it is something that I purposely do.
So you think that everything that you've done to show someone you love them has been an intentional, thought out action by you? That's what you're saying.
It's on purpose. I choose, because it's a choice. I choose to show you how I love you. How am I going to choose to do that? I'm going to buy you some flowers today because I want to show you that I love you. I'm going to cook you dinner. That is a choice. I do all the things that I do every day as a man to show you that I love you. That is a choice. That is not something that I have to do or naturally do because all of a sudden there's this love in me for you. It is a choice. It is something that you do on purpose.
Is this a man mindset? Eddie, what do you think? Are you like agreeing with him, or like I'm sorry, I'm just struggling to really understand the whole.
To be honest, as a man, that's exactly how we think about relationships and marriage. We feel like rent is due every day. Like it's performative. And I hate to say this the wrong way, but y'all know me and y'all know what it is. But your mama's the only person that's gonna love you non-transactional.
Fact. What was that, Eddie? What did Chris Rock say? Dogs and what are the only, and children are the only thing. I forgot. Chris Rock said it.
Yeah,
and he said it perfectly. He's a philosopher. Yeah, he said it perfully.
Because at the end of the day,
transactional.
I can't tell you how many dates I've been on, and even being married, sometimes you find yourself asking yourself, how can you reinvent the romance? To your point about exhausting possibilities, because you don't want things to go stale. You don't want her to think you're taking advantage of her because you've been told in previous relationships that, man, you haven't said I love you. And like there's a quote. You feel like there's a quota as a man. It's been like 2 days. You ain't even touched me today, or you be having like sex quotas, like, oh, what happened this week? You be like, oh, I've been busy, boo. Like, I'll get to it. You know what I mean?
But like,
and then it's like you feel performing. It don't matter that we bought a house. It don't matter that I got you a nice car and a mink or whatever Birkin bag. You still feel like you got to perform, and rent is due. It's like, as a man, women don't really have to feel that way so much. But men, we always know the rent is due every day in a relationship.
And part of it, and I think the natural part for a woman, and to your point, Carolyn, I give you this much. Y'all are natural nurturers. Right? So as a human being, as a woman, you guys naturally nurture. What we do naturally is we protect, right? But the love part is something that we have to do on purpose. Right? Like we do. Like that's just something that we have to do. Now, it may be easier for y'all, but at the same time, I think what men are saying to a certain extent these days is that, yeah, like I'm gonna do this. What are you doing to show me that you love me also? Like y'all are nurturing, cool, whatever. But I think a lot of dudes out here are on some, one of my homegirls kept saying, niggas want to be bad bitches so bad. It cracked me up.
I mean,
but I hate to say it like that, and I don't want to I'm not calling no other man a bad bitch. I'm just not. But I think the concept is, yo, I know I'm supposed to do all this for you. What are you doing for me to make me feel like I'm being wanted? Because right now it's coming off very much so that if I don't do this, that, and the third, I don't deserve the love that I think I should get from you. And so a lot of men are like, yo, I want something in return. And that's what, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. That just seemed like how it's coming off. And as a woman, that's going to come off to you as niggas want to be chased so bad. Niggas want to be bad bitches so bad. But the concept behind it, I can kind of understand it as things have evolved in this dating world.
Well, that's a lot. I don't even know where to. I don't even know where.
We unpacked a lot there. We went totally off.
But I don't even know.
We also got to keep in mind, like you said, Carolyn, like these cats are like 27, 29 years old, and I still kind of remember that age. I'm like, wow, like you just. It's almost like your left brain is chasing your right brain. Like you haven't got the balance yet to know. Like, because at 27, you could tell like Clay got a nice house, he got businesses, he got streams of income, but he just don't got the other part of his brain where he's mature enough maybe to understand like to trust somebody. Because what was ironic to me, and this kind of ironic and even contradictory, is that in the pods he read her the same verse that the father read at the aisle, where he was like, don't trust your feelings, trust God, like, because, your feelings will always kind of do inventory to be like, oh, no, well, and then at the end of the day, he didn't trust God at all because he was kind of coming at her. Remember he said that verse, the very verse that the father said at the altar, and then he ended up betraying it. He ended up betraying God's trust to be like, nah, I can't trust faith. I got to trust myself. And it's like, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't believe in nobody selling for nothing. You gonna live and regret it. But I just hated the fact that he did all that. He could have done that, saved that girl's face, man. Could have done that over dinner. Could have done that behind the closed doors, but not in front of people's mamas and kids and daddies and sisters and brothers, man. That's just crazy, man.
Yeah. The hard, but even worse than that, I ain't gonna even hold you. You know what's worse than that? Divorce.
Facts. All that's worse, man. But at the end of the day, like, I don't really think she's. I mean, I this gonna sound weird, but I was so, now that I have a daughter, maybe it's because I just have a daughter. I have a 2-year-old daughter now, and I think like a woman now. It's kind of weird when you have a daughter, you become a daughter. It's weird. I looked at that. I literally said, I looked over at wifey when that scene happened. I would have stood up and wanted to strangle old boy. Like,
that's a dad. Like, you a dad. That's what you're supposed to feel like.
At this point, you done met me. We done broke bread together. You told me you gonna do right by my daughter. You leave her at the aisle, and you got me all dressed up saying PPO.
No, facts.
As he should.
Like, what would your dad do, Carolyn? Like, come on, man.
I mean, I have no idea what my dad would have done. He passed, unfortunately, but
I'm sorry.
It probably would have been. Oh, it's okay, but I'm sure he definitely would have a problem with that. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah,
I
like
know my
that's
mom would have. My mom would have been like, "Yo, I looked you in the eye, and you said that my son was good with you, and you doing
Yeah.
this."
It's disrespectful in a way. Well, let's dig into that a little more with the time that we have left. Let's dig into that pattern that we see. And again, this is not an attack on black men by any way, shape, or form, because I love y'all, and my husband's gonna be a black man. I don't know where he at. I hope he get his life together soon, because I'm ready to be a wife. But that's neither here nor there. What is the issue with? Because we talked about this a little bit with that hoe going on these trips with his dad to cheat and seeing and kind of seeing and thinking that's okay or that's normal, or growing up as young black boys and thinking that having a whole lot of women is the right thing to do, or that makes you the man or whatever. And as you guys have grown older, that that's not the case, right? That's not really what we should be teaching the young people. And so let's talk about how that is perpetuating within our society, which is hindering, building relationships, because we have, a lot more men than women, but the men aren't necessarily stepping up. It's like you said, Jay, there's all these beautiful women in DC, Atlanta, Houston, wherever, like all these beautiful single women who have their stuff together, but they're single. Let's talk about why. What is it? I know that black men have a lot of trauma. I understand that. But let's dig into that a little bit. Because, like, for example, when I was in Atlanta, I dated a guy briefly. His mom used to cheat on his dad and used to take him with her to go cheat on his dad. And so he developed obviously an extreme mistrust of women. And, he told me that. And it was like, and it was very difficult for him to ever like be in a committed relationship because he just didn't trust women. So let's talk about that, that those childhood experiences that young black boys experience that then kind of perpetuate itself once you guys get older, and then it kind of hinders your your relationships in your adulthood.
interesting enough. I think one of the things that young men, I think we have to understand in our formative age, which is around when we become a teenager, we really start paying attention, right, to everything around us when it comes to the opposite sex as young men. We're going to take our cues from our dad when it comes to how we treat women. It's that simple. If the dad is around, we're going to take our cues from our dad. It becomes a little tougher if the dad isn't around, right? And what ends up happening is that you may not receive the messages or the lessons learned needed to know how to treat a woman in a relationship if a male is around. Now, let's just say that male is around and he's cheating on the first female you've ever loved, right? There's definitely going to be some. It becomes, or it looks like it's normalized. That's normal behavior, right? Especially if the father doesn't explain why he's doing what he's doing. You now inherit that sort of behavior naturally, and you end up repeating that same dysfunction. There's a little bit more to this. How my mother acts when it comes to men treating her, I'm paying attention to that. Right? How is she allowing men to treat her, or how she's treating men? Right? That would be something that I'm going to end up kind of looking for in the women that I date.
So give me an example. So for example, if you see your mom moving this way, then how does that translate into
a perfect example is a lot of men who saw their mother cater to their father, bring out dinner, serve. She played a very subservient role to his dad, this, that, and the third. They're going to look for those same attributes in the women that they date. because that's what they saw growing up. The women that they see is going to be a reflection of how their mother was in the household. It gets complicated if there's no man, right? Because now you have this mom who sometimes is probably trying to play mom and dad. And so that's where gets a lot of confusion, et cetera, et cetera. That's why it's important to have both parents in the household. So there's
But we know
balance.
in a lot of Black households
That's not happening.
That's not happening.
Which is why there's an imbalance.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have both parents in the household, we look at our parents as men. We look at our parents and inherit different things from them that reflect in how we grow up in our relationships and how we act. Eddie, I don't know if you agree with that or not.
I mean, I have a weird perspective, man. I always tell y'all I'm the residential married guy with kids. I'm y'all's residential Al Bundy, but I don't sell shoes. But I don't know. It's weird. When I was a kid, you know, I remember I used to always hear my uncles and older cousins and older friends always say, like, man, you know, I'm a great father, but I'm a horrible husband. And I used to always hear that all the time. Now that I'm a husband, I can tell you, you actually can't be one without the other. And I'm explaining real quick, because your whole success as a man or father is predicated on how the mother's energy is. If she's happy, because I'm gonna say it like this: if you're a man and you providing and the lights are on and everybody's eating great every day and kids got all the J's and all the AIs, all that, but every time they hear your car park coming in from work and mama's stressed, all of a sudden mama's on some that nigga, and the kids see that, even though they love you and kids are like, that's daddy, he loved me. When they see their mom get stressed, you're on probation. And you don't even realize you're on probation because they see mama sweating and trying to hide from you because she knows you coming in the house. And what I'm saying is, like, that kills you as a man to think that you don't have to be a good husband, but be a good father, because your energy is predicated on whenever you park that car and that the garage door goes up and mama gets all giddy and silly and does a little silly dance. Oh, daddy here, y'all. And she over here stanky legging. That's how you know you the man. When people waiting for you at the door, kids are like, oh, daddy, and mama's over here. I done made the the ribs or whatever, like sliced to see you, bro. That's how you know you winning. It's predicated on how the garage door goes up. And I'm learning this right now, bro, because I didn't have my father around. I grew up with a Caribbean father who used to play them little Tiger Wood games where he would take me out and try to flirt with girls in front of me at the market and try to prove, like, wink, wink to me, like he still got it. And as a kid, I didn't know any better. I thought it was displaced ego. Like, oh, man, my dad's still good looking. Look at all these little young girls looking. But in my mind, it was like, he would even say to me, like, in Spanish, like, no diga eso, like, don't tell your mom nothing. But he'd be flirting with these young girls, the cashier, like everyone he could get attention from. And then it kind of translated into me as a grown man, even a teenager, like, let me go ahead and get some of this ego. Let me go ahead and, because, we were treating women like, and still now a lot of us treat women like money, like currency. Let me get a bunch and spend a bunch, and then you find out later the only way you're going to make this work is when you stop treating them like pets and make them partners. Because, to your point, if people want to say marriage is a business, at the end of the day, man, you know how it is with business. There's accountability. There's one-on-ones every other week. What you bringing? And at the end of the day, your wife shouldn't be bringing nothing to the table. She should be the table. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you, as a man, you just got to make sure you're setting it right for everybody. The burden's on us. You know the book. So it's a wild job. But I'll tell you like this, man. I tell some people, because I have cousins that are trying to get married, and I'll be like, I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of you that has to die first before you can live in that space. It's not for everybody, man. I'm definitely never going to sell marriage for everybody. It's not for everybody. Not at all. Because I know cats that should never have got, to your point, should have never settled, should have never done it, should have stayed, they should have never retired that jersey. Because at the end of the day, I'm trying to kill this cycle, man, that's in my family. I'm trying to be the first one that kind of can have my kids say, oh, my dad did his best for us. He was intentional with us. And I try, like I said, rent is due every day, bro, all day with this game. Not every month, not on the 1st, not on even on the 15th, bro. Every day.
Every day.
Every day. It's stressful, man.
So
I love
no, I
that.
love
'Cause,
yeah, that was real.
yeah, I think you said so much stuff there that was like gold. And I really think because, you know, me being in the school system and seeing the youth and working with the youth, that it's something that we need to figure out a way to talk about more with our young men, so that when they grow up, they're kind of breaking these cycles and they're not repeating the same behaviors, or, you know, seeing their mom get treated a certain way. Because honestly, you would think that if you see your mom get treated a certain way that's negative, you would be like, in your mind, I'm going to do the opposite, right?
Well,
But
how would you know that as a kid? You don't have anything to base that against.
yeah, I guess you're right. But I'd imagine as a kid that you don't like seeing your mom get mistreated.
You don't know it's mistreatment because you don't have a baseline.
But I mean, but instinctively, let's be honest, women are more emotional. So when you see your mom cry and react,
Sure.
and even now in real life, bro, let's say, you know, a lot of times I always tell my wife, I'm not going to argue with you in public, because if I make you cry, everybody going to look at me as I'm the culprit. It don't matter who's right or wrong. Anytime you make a woman cry, people looking at you like,
Absolutely, you like an asshole.
You know, like an asshole, man. What they doing? Another black man over here, you know. And really, all I said was the truth. You know,
you gotta understand. You gotta understand,
you know?
something. Kids understand actions and consequences.
Exactly.
If my father made my mother cry, but my mother didn't do anything to him as a consequence, as a child, I'm going to see it as, oh, this is normal. Because you got a child understands action, reaction, right? We understand this is what happens if you do something wrong. If you do something wrong, here's the consequences. That's how we understand what's right and wrong growing up. That's how we create a baseline. If I don't have that baseline to know or understand that, oh, my father wasn't supposed to make my mother cry because my mother didn't do anything to let him know that was wrong or let me know that was wrong. Like, I don't know. As a child, I'm going to end up thinking that's normal. So when I get into a relationship, I'm going to be numb to the fact that I made my lady cry or that she's crying. Why? What's wrong with that? I only told you that your hips got bigger.
You asked me.
Right, you asked. What you I don't understand. Why are you upset?
Yeah. But unfortunately, the kids see the reaction, and I think
Right.
society does too, bro. Like, let's say you and me got into a fight. I shove you. You knock me out cold. Guess who's the asshole on that? No one's gonna say that I pushed you. They're gonna remember that you knocked me out cold.
Right.
And you the one that's gonna get locked up. And
Right.
you the one that did that to me. Because
Right.
I got the worst of it. But they
Right.
know no one's gonna mention that, Eddie pushed him though.
Right. Because there's a
They gonna say,
baseline.
"Oh,
You
he
know what I
knocked
mean?
him out."
It depends on how you came up, right? If you the kid that your parents told you somebody put their hands on you, you put your hands on them back, you're gonna see that as, oh yeah, oh, Jay did the right thing. But if you were taught, always take the peaceful way out, right? You're gonna look at me like, oh, he's an animal. You dig what I'm saying? It depends on how you grew up in the environment that you grew up in and what you were taught and what you saw, this, that, and the third. So if we're not all on the same page, two people will look at the same situation and look at it totally different.
True. But that takes a lot, in my opinion, that takes a lot of discernment to know that kind of wisdom. I think most of us are reactive. Like if
Is it wisdom? Is it wisdom? Is it really wisdom? Or is it just that's what you were taught?
Because no one investigates like, who started it? What happened? They just see results. They see a woman crying. And anytime you see a woman crying, everyone's taught instinctively to react to that. Hold her. Somebody see about that woman. No one cares what she instigated. No one cares what happened. It's just everyone looks at like the one that got hurt the most, and that's, Jay knocked Eddie out. It don't matter what I did. There's no excuse for what Eddie did.
Right.
Never mind that I,
Absolutely.
I mushed you and I, and pushed you and got in your face when you was minding your business, but you knocked me out. And everyone's looking at you as the corporate.
The bad guy.
He's violent.
Right.
You know,
And there are going to be some people who say Jason still shouldn't have put his hands on him.
because it's the drama.
You see
It's
what
the
I'm saying?
drama of me locked out with blood on my face.
No.
That's all that people gonna see.
Well, yeah. And why you got to go there, Jason? Why did you have to get violent?
All
right, whatever.
Are you an animal?
Right.
Oh my
Right.
gosh.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
So, all right. So,
I think. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You good. Wrap it up.
No, I was just saying, I just think it's important that we have to figure out a way to reach more young people in terms of kind of like dispelling some of these myths, if you will, stereotypes that, that we're growing up with in our communities that we know that are wrong and detrimental to us really moving forward as a culture, and like bringing us together. Because, this show is all about bringing people together, healing the culture, bringing people together, moving the culture forward.
Yes.
That's what we're all about here. So that's what we have to continue to have these conversations. And we're getting about out of time. So I'm going to give the floor to Eddie for any last minute thoughts, and then I'll share some last minute announcements, and then Jay, you could close us out.
Yes, sir.
no,
What you got, Eddie?
I was just gonna say, man, I'm always happy to be here. I think y'all doing God's work, man. It's important about dialogue, man. I remember like not understanding the concept of therapy. I remember thinking like, what does that mean? And I didn't realize that conversation is what makes everyone conscious. It's almost like literally unpacking like your ideas, your feelings, your emotions. And when you can see everything in that way, you know how to understand yourself and your surroundings. So I think even though people can look at this casually, like, oh, this is just a bunch of people talking, but we talking about some fun things and making it palatable enough for people to take home and go, oh, okay, never thought about that. So I applaud y'all.
We appreciate you, and as always, thank you for joining us. You're always welcome. Anytime, you always bring so much amazing insight and ideas, and you really actually stretch my thinking with the things that you say. And one of the things I love about this show is, like you said, it's just conversation. But you can really, if you're actively listening, you can really learn a lot. Like you said, I feel like me personally, I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about like thinking about other people, considering the perspective from the male view, because I never did that before. I was always just caught up in my own perspective and how everything impacted me. And having these conversations has really opened me up to be more intentional and mindful of other people and their perspectives, and just wanting to grow and understand and be better. Like, I don't want to be, I used to look for confrontation. I realized that about myself, but I am not like that anymore. I'm so proud of myself for growing. But now I just want to like, let's heal, let's move forward. Let's love on each other. So couple of announcements. First of all, if this is your first time joining us, thank you so much. We're so happy to have you. Bear with us as we are switching to like a new platform. Today is our first day, so we'll get better with everything. Looking forward to having some more dialogue with you guys in the chat once I get that up and running. Follow us on YouTube. Of course, we're on IG Live. That's where we used to always broadcast from. Facebook, we have a Facebook page as well. TikTok, follow us on those platforms. If you want to hear more of our past episodes, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all of the podcast platforms. And next week's topic is the good things about relationships. We're always dissecting the things that we need to work on and the things that we need to improve on in order to create more healthy and flourishing relationships. So next week we're going to show some love by focusing on the good things about relationships and dating. So I'm excited about that because I want to learn what they are. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I am excited about having that conversation. And again, we love you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm going to hand it over to Jay.
Listen, Eddie, thanks, man. Big ups to you. I really appreciate you always coming in. Like Carolyn said, your insight and how you view things and your experience is always dope. Always appreciative of that, man. That's always great. and you always contribute positively to the conversation. So that's always a wonderful thing. Like Carolyn said, hey, listen, we just having a conversation. We are not experts. We are here to contribute to the culture, bring us closer together. We want to bring back love. We need more love. We need each other. And I'm going to keep saying this every week. We need the black men. We need my black women, and the black women, y'all need us. And whether or not y'all want to hear that, I'm going to keep saying it every week until it sinks in. We need y'all. Y'all need us. And that's just how it's just going to be, right? That's what it is. Y'all stuck. We stuck with y'all, and y'all stuck with us. God damn it. Shit. All right.
Well,
so
let's do it then.
We just going to be miserable or happy together. Pick one, but we're going to be together.
Everything
one, goddamn
say.
Anything
know,
you
right?
say. You know what I'm saying? But no, I so appreciate everybody. We're on a new platform. We're bringing out some new technology. We're trying to upgrade for y'all. Trying to do some new things. We moved to Tuesday. They're trying to get more people to check us out. Tuesday seems like a slow night. So, God damn it, tell your friends, tell your sisters, tell your cousins, tell your mama to come on and join us. We always going to talk about some good things. And listen, every week, you know what we do. We keep it spiced, but we always keep it nice. Love y'all.
Good night.
Holla.